Hello guys, thank you so much for coming back to watch another video on my channel. Resident Evil Requiem, or Resident Evil 9 should I call it, is recently just been announced and we've seen the trailer footage. We also seen some previews from gaming outlets who've actually seen or played the demo of Resident Evil 9. There's a lot of stuff I need to cover in this video, which is going to be my personal take as to what I think with the information we got, that what Resident Evil 9 is going to be when it's going to release the end of February next year. So without wasting any time, let's dive into our video. Now Resident Evil 9 recently just been announced at Summer Game Fest 2025. Now we know the guy who's working on Resident Evil 9 is Koji Nakanishi, who worked on Resident Evil 7. He knows how to deliver a good horror games. He also actually worked on Resident Evil Revelations, which I think was a really good take on bringing back Resident Evil series, which I think they couldn't succeed originally on Revelations, and they actually managed to do that with the recent remix titles like Resident Evil 2 Remake. So I think this guy has a lot of work behind the scenes in the Resident Evil franchise. So from the start we already knew that Resident Evil 9 is going to take the tonal shift back to Resident Evil 7 rather than following what we've seen in Resident Evil 8, even though we all enjoyed Resident Evil 8 as to what that game has offered in terms of the gameplay and the fun element, which we haven't seen with the previous Resident Evil titles before. So to cut short, I'm really looking forward for Resident Evil 9 because I really enjoyed Resident Evil 7. That was a game which actually resonated with me quite a lot. It had a lot of similar themes to the original Resident Evil 1. Now let's talk about Resident Evil 9. From the trailer we've seen, it begins with the FBI's headquarters. We get introduced to a character who is sort of an FBI analyst, walks to a table to a character which is going to be one of the main protagonists in the game, called Grace Ashcroft, and it looks like that she's investigating or writing a report on the missing bodies, which I think is a series of events which has been going on. And one of the pictures actually seems to look like Ethan Winters, so she might be investigating and looking into what has happened to Ethan Winters, which I think is really good to tie into the lore of the previous Resident Evil titles, what we have seen so far. And at that point, Grace Ashcroft gets called into the office, where the officer actually shares the information that they've found another missing body which has been found with a similar sort of theme which Grace Ashcroft has been investigating. And then he hand over the case file, which actually links back to Remake Hotel. It's a new place we're going to get introduced to. It's the same place where Alicia Ashcroft, Grace Ashcroft's mother, a character from Resident Evil Outbreak, is actually went to do some investigation and she got killed 8 years ago. We actually also get to see some flashback moments in that trailer, which might be flashbacks or it might be just hinting and giving us some sort of an overview how the location does look like. And it looks like a mansion to me. And I think sort of a mansion locations always work with the Resident Evil games. You get to investigate, you do some puzzle solving, and it always have this creepy factor behind searching in these claustrophobic small spaces. So I'm glad they're going in with the Resident Evil 9, bringing those locations back into it. And then later on in the trailer we see that Grace is actually tied into this location upside down, and it looks like it could be a medical wing or some sort of a hospital. And then it moves on to a character we see which we don't know who he is. A lot of people been speculating, could be Albert Wesker, could be Jake Wesker, could be the Oswald E. Spencer sitting on a chair talking to our main protagonist, calling that she's the chosen one. So I think this character or this antagonist is going to play a bigger role in Resident Evil 9. And then we get to see a couple of shots of this sort of location, which I think could be a remote hotel. It looks really good, quite detailed with the RE engine. It gives me a lot of Resident Evil 7 sort of vibes. And then we also get to see some characters, some hooded guy, and then this monster coming through the ceiling, which a lot of people see in the preview build. And lastly, we get to see Raccoon City. after the disaster of what has happened with the outbreak. We get to see a couple of shots, especially with the RPD station. So I'm glad we're going to go back to Raccoon City, and it's going to tie in with a lot of stuff. Maybe the T-virus, which is mutated in a sort of mutated form. We'll get to see more monsters. So I personally cannot wait to see what we're going to find in Raccoon City. So I think with Resident Evil 9 trailer we've seen, it gives us a couple of hints as to what to expect from Resident Evil 9. Now, not just the trailer, we also got some previews from a lot of people who actually get to see the gameplay footage, or they actually get to play the game. Now what they confirmed, they actually get to play the opening section where Grace is in that Remake hotel. She's tied upside down, which we've seen in the trailer. She actually managed to escape. Now what they confirm, this location is some sort of a medical wing or medical facility, and it actually was Remake Hotel. It's actually a destroyed version. It's quite isolated place with no lights. You actually had to go and flick the lights. You had to find light sources. So it's going to bring that sort of atmosphere we're going to expect to see from this location. It is going to have the same sort of exploration we've seen with the Baker Mansion. So I'm really glad they went with that direction. You get to solve this fuse puzzle where you need to do that before you can actually open the door and get to the next location. There's a lot of inspecting objects, which I think is great. It's going to be slow burn, and I like that in Resident Evil games because I like to do a lot of backtracking. I like to explore in my own pace, and I know a lot of people are into more RE4 remake style, which is good. You like action horror, but I'm a more survival horror fan, so I'm glad they're going in that direction with few segments in the game. Now interestingly, they confirmed the footage they've seen and the demo they've played, there is no actual fighting. You can't get to use any weapons, but they actually get chased by this main antagonist, which sort of look like a Lady Dimitrescu or Mr. X, and it chases you throughout that location. Now I know a lot of people don't like that. They don't like the stalker enemies in the game, but I love them. I love Alien Isolation. I love Mr. X in Resident Evil 2 Remake. So I'm really glad they're bringing that back. The Jack Baker segment, unless the game is entirely that, then I can understand the frustration, but I don't think that's going to be the case. So for a small segment, I would really love to see that returning back with Resident Evil 9. And what I can see and what we can hear from the previews, they're actually doing that. And they bring in this new antagonist, which is sort of a very creepy hag sort of a creature, which chases you and actually can go through the ceilings, which a lot of people have been speculating is either Lisa Trevor or a sort of a Licker character. So don't get me wrong, it might still have connections to the virus which is being used on Lisa Trevor. It might be the same one. That what might explain as to why she has overgrown in size, but I'm glad it bring in that sort of element because I think it works really well, especially when you play in these modern Resident Evil titles. Now, one of the big key changes which Capcom has actually done is giving you the option of playing Resident Evil 9 in either first person or third person, and not the third person we've seen from Resident Evil Village where it was like an afterthought and added quite later on in the game. They actually built in Resident Evil 9 from the start with the two camera perspective in mind. So I think that's great because I love to play Resident Evil titles in first person. I also love to play a third person. That means I can get to enjoy a couple of runs or a couple of playthroughs. And then also the people who've played the Resident Evil 9 demo, they confirmed that Capcom actually told them Grace Ashcroft is not the only main protagonist in the game. There's going to be another returning character who is really good with guns, which we all know, if you're going back to Raccoon City, it has to be Leon S. Kennedy. But saying that, it could be Carlos, it could be another character like Jill Valentine. I would love to see a lot of those characters to come to this conclusion if they're going to do a finale in the mainline series with Resident Evil 9 and then go in brand new direction with their own sort of stories for the future titles. Now, hearing all of this gets me really excited for Resident Evil 9. I think Resident Evil 9 is going to be one of the greatest titles, mark my words, because I think what the game is going for with the scope, and you're having all of these locations. You have this Remake Hotel, which is very reminiscent of Baker's State and RPD Station, and also then you have Raccoon City where we're going back to, and we don't know how many more locations there is going to be. Now the good thing is we don't have to wait that long. The game is literally around the corner. It's coming out the end of February next year, and we also get to play a demo around Gamescom this year. So I'm really looking forward to it. I think there might be another trailer we might see in a Tokyo Game Show. What do you guys think about this? Are you as getting excited as I am for Resident Evil 9? Please do let me know your thoughts and opinion in the comment section down below in this video. And I'll catch you again with another video on my channel. Until then, look after yourself. Have a good one.